All right. So, this deck, man, everybody is so interested in this variation of this deck. So, we're going to go through it and I'm just going to show you what is in it. We have one Goblin and Archomancer. Each spell you cast that's red or green costs one less to cast. So, that is one red and a green. We're just playing one of those. We have Dragon's Rage Channeler. We're playing 1, 2, 3 Dragon's Rage Channelers. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, surveil 1. Has Delirium. As long as there are 4 more card types among cards in your graveyard, Dragon's Rage Channeler gets +2/+2, has flying, and attacks each combat if able. Oh boy. Alright, we have Glistener Elf. We have 1, 2, 3 Glistener Elves. So this is an Infect 1/1 for 1 green. We're running 3 of those. And sometimes we sideboard those because this is a Storm deck and it's an Infect deck. It's a Poison Infect Storm deck. And it can be one or the other. It can be both of them. It can be heavy one way, heavy another way. And that's what's so special about it. And you'll see that in video 2. I'll really demonstrate that. So Venerated Rot Priest, 1 green, toxic 1. Whenever a creature you control becomes the target of a spell, target opponent gets a poison counter. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 of those. So that will line up our creature base in the main deck. But this is sideboarded. The sideboard plays a huge role in this deck. We have Mishra's Bauble, needs no introduction. 1, 2. We have Underworld Breach. Yes, Breach. Get this one up here. All right. We are running 3 Underworld Breach to work with our 3 Dragon's Rage Channelers. 1, 2, 3. We have a 4th. It's not in the sideboard, and we don't run it in here because it was recurring too much for us in the way our deck is built. And Summoner's Pact. For 0 mana, search your library for a green creature card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. This is a credit card for us here, and at the beginning of your next upkeep, pay 2 and 2 green. If you don't, you lose the game. So we're running 2 Summoner's Pact. Just 2 of those. To be used very carefully. And preferably on an opponent's turn. We have Mutagenic Growth. Nice free Rot Priest trigger. 1, 2, 3, 4 mutagenics. So that target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. You can pay a green or 2 Phyrexian, which is life. Get a life. Pay a life, will ya? We have Gut Shot. 1, 2, 3. We can target our Rot Priest after we beef it up with this. Or we can target problematic blockers that get in the way of our Glistener Elf. Right, Gliss? Oh, that's right. All right, and we're running 4 Mana Morphos. 1, 2, 3, 4 of this wonderful card. Add 2 mana in any combination of colors to your mana pool. Draw a card. These are wonderful. Get that storm count up. And who wouldn't want that card draw? Ding, ding, ding. Draw those cards. Now, we have 2 Pyretics rituals in the sideboard, but we're running 1, 2, 3, 4 Desperate rituals in the main deck. And these are awesome. I love these. I love that Splice onto Arcane. Just amazing. Oops, set those on the sideboard, didn't I? There we go. I don't want to do that. All right. And for sorceries, we got 3 scale ups to work with our Glistener Elf. Until end of turn, target creature you control becomes a green worm with base power and toughness 6/4. And it has that overload as well. However, we're just not concerned with that. I don't think we've ever done overload with this card. And this is just to hit our Glistener Elf or our Inkmoth Nexus. And I will say, you can play Inkmoth Nexus as like 0 cards in this. So if somebody wanted to, I have practiced with a 62 card deck, and it does work. It does work. So let's get through what we're doing here. We have our Abundant Harvest. We're running 1 or 2 of those currently. Choose land or non-land. Reveal cards from the top of your library until reveal a card of the chosen kind. Put that card into your hand and the rest in the bottom of your library in a random order. To me, this is one of the most underrated cards in Modern. Just love it. We got Ground Rift, of course. We're running 4. Target creature without flying can't block this turn. We can hit their creatures. We can hit our creatures. We got Storm. 1, 2, 3, 4, of course. And we're going to run one grape shot to round us out. So what does the mana base look like in here? So this is interesting. We have a red. We have a green. We have 2 stomping grounds, right? Shocklands. We have 1, 2, 3 Copperline Gorges, which entered the battlefield tapped unless you control 2 or fewer other lands. And we're running 1, 2. Where are you? Right there. Oops, almost had it, didn't we? We're running 3 Carplusian Forests, which can add a colorless, or you can do 1 damage, and you can add a red or a green to us. And we got this card right here is the moneymaker in here. Grove of Burn Willows. 1, 2, 3, 4. Why wouldn't we run that? That's a dual land for us. We can add red or green if we need it. Each opponent gains a life. We do not care about opponents gaining life in here. We have Gemstone Mine to just get any color mana we need. And then here's our 2 Ink Moths, which these are our sad bugs. These sad bugs here can really close out a game quick. And Ink Moth is an interesting card. It can't pay for itself, obviously. Ink Moth, if it entered the battlefield on the turn that you transform it, the Ink Moth will have Summoning Sickness. So it's best to play Ink Moth, say like turn 1, as a land, then play a land, then you can tap that land, play Ink Moth turn 2. As long as it's not the first turn that Ink Moth entered the battlefield, it won't have Summoning Sickness. So we're running 2 of those. Now let's talk about that sideboard. What do we have in it? We have a Glistener Elf for our creatures. We have a Noble Hierarch with that Exalted. We just run 1 of these. And that's to, if we're going the Infect route rather than the other route, this Goblin Shaman is going to give us that 1 extra point of damage. And also a great mana source. We have another Goblin and Archomancer, so we'll throw this in the deck if we're running full Storm. We have a Spellskite, again, will be thrown in if we're running full Storm. This is pretty Rot Priest-centric. We have Might of Old Krosa. Now, this is what we're going to be running. We're going to add these 2. If, say we're going to go our Glistener Elf route to try to get that direct damage, try to pump up the Ink Moth, as it were. We have Vines of Vastwood. Kicker. Target creature can't be the target of spells or abilities your opponents control this turn. If Vines of Vastwood was kicked, that creature gets +4/+4 until end of turn. This is going to protect our Rot Priest, which is good for us. And it's also going to later on be a thing to bump up something. So 2 of those. We have an extra Gut Shot here, just in case we should want it. And we have a Pyretic Ritual. Add 3 to the mana pool. We're running 2 of those. If we want to go full on Storm, we have that. If we want to go full Storm, we have Grape Shot. So we're going to be running 1 of these Grape Shots in here. And for some free mana, we have 2 Mishra's Baubles and an extra 4th Dragon's Rage Channeler. And as I said, the way that is with the Ink Moth, say like you want to put 1 more Glistener in, you'd have 61 cards, but with the Ink Moth, it's not that big of a deal to have an extra card or just 2. I don't personally do it all the time, but sometimes if I cannot figure where I want to go, just like putting, say, like this in, and then taking out the Ink Moths, or, the Glistener Elves all together, and then adding, like, these, and then take out, say, Scale Up, and add Spellskite and an Anarchomancer. Still got some room there, right? I'd say Gut Shot and Grape Shot. And then just switch them out. And then you got full Storm. But then if you're switching out and you're going against different opponents, you maybe don't want to go full Storm. So if you don't want to go full Storm, you can get those, set yourself up to beef up the Ink Moths and beef up the Glisteners. And there's the deck. And this is done. I figured done bun right here. No more iterations of this deck. I have 2 decks. One, you guys are familiar, is the Gruul Poison Infect Storm. And then this one, which I call Stormy with a chance of Infect, like Cloudy with a chance of Meatballs. Because it's pretty storm heavy, but it has a good chance of Infect damage too. Hey, thank you for joining me. If you guys want to check out my Patreon, it is Lizards of the Toast on Patreon, and I appreciate it. You don't have to give me money. Literally just did that so when I do my giveaways, people don't have to like give information in my comments and I don't have to put out email addresses. So Patreon will be a place where you guys can claim prizes. If somebody wants to give to Patreon, go for it. But don't feel obligated. I can't afford to give money to people's Patreons that I'd like to as well. I understand that. It's an expensive game we play. So the Patreon, enjoy it. Just go there. Just fun. Don't feel obligated. All it is a place for you guys to claim your fun prizes. So I hope you enjoyed this deck. And may the Shapoopy be always on your side.